Good evening and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas's Wednesday evening service. My name is Reverend Laura Hallett, and it is my pleasure to be the spiritual leader for this amazing community here in Southern Nevada. If you happen to be joining us from somewhere else in the world tonight, we are so delighted to have you here with us. It really is so amazing to have this technology that lets us connect in consciousness no matter how far apart we are. I thought I would take each of our Wednesday evenings and explore more fun ways to connect with Spirit through some of our different spiritual practices and principles. So far this month, we've played with meditation, prayer, and affirmations. For these last 2 weeks of March, I thought I would take a look at a couple of our spiritual truths that we hold absolute. These are qualities of Spirit that we know are always in existence, are always present, always available, and always the truth of Spirit. And I thought we'd take some time to explore these two for this last 2 weeks of March. So this week, we're looking at the spiritual quality of joy and bringing a little bit more time into our lives to play with the concept of joy and see how we can bring some more of that experience into our lives. When I began at Centers for Spiritual Living back in 2005, I was working in the bookstore. And people would come into the bookstore and they would ask us to suggest a book to help them understand the philosophy of science of mind a little bit better. Now you may think that we suggested that they buy our 600-page textbook called The Science of Mind to get a really broad understanding of it. But actually that book can be quite overwhelming. And so what we always recommended to them, every single time when they came in looking for that very first book, we recommended the book by Ernest Holmes called This Thing Called You. There was a very particular reason we did this. It was a very easy read and a great way of understanding an overall concept of our spiritual principles that we use here in Centers for Spiritual Living. The very opening line of the book, This Thing Called You, is this: you, like all others, are seeking the joy of living. Now that one single line has set the tone for this amazing work that for decades has changed people's lives. We are all seeking the joy of living. Everyone, everywhere, is seeking the joy of living. And of course that means vastly different things to different people. Joy is the fundamental nature of Spirit. Our founder Ernest goes on to say in This Thing Called You, Spirit is happy, whole, free, filled with joy, eternal in its existence, and can provide you with everlasting expansion. All of your highest hopes and dreams have come from it. The echo of its being is in your intellect. The voice of its unspoken word is in your mind. The feeling of its light and life is in your heart. And the emotion of its imagination is in your soul. Joy is the very heart of who we are. It is expressing itself in all different avenues within our being. The very nature of this creative intelligence that brought us into existence is bringing forth more and more joy into our lives on a daily basis. I believe that the divine creates for the sheer joy of doing it. One of my favorite spiritual ideas, and it's written in many different spiritual texts, and quoted by different people, but I can't find the definitive answer to it. But this is kind of a paraphrase of it. We exist for the sheer delight of God. We exist. That creative intelligence brings us forth just to delight itself, just to experience life in a different way, just to experience a little bit more joy through each and every one of us. I believe that our lives are meant to be lived with joy. And I know that there are many things that take us out of that sense of joy, that distract us from the purpose of our existence. So how can we be more conscious about bringing joy into our lives in greater and greater ways? The philosopher and theologian Howard Thurman wrote a passage entitled The Moments of High Resolve. And the last paragraph of this is something that I frequently go to remind myself of how I want to live my life. He writes, in the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of God, my heart whispers, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in fair weather or in foul, in good times or in tempest, in the days when the darkness and the foe are nameless or familiar, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. I actually have this line in almost every one of my journals. I have it on a sticker on my computer. I keep it fresh before me because it is a reminder for me to keep looking at those moments of high resolve, those moments when I am seeking that higher expression of the divine through me. So how do I keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve? Well, one of the most surprising things that I've learned in my 15 years of doing spiritual work is the immense pleasure I get out of checking something off of a to-do list. Now, I was never one to make to-do lists until recently. And so I didn't understand that, how satisfying that could be, what a great experience of joy I could get out of making a little check mark in a box. Now, I'm not talking about an ordinary to-do list of my everyday tasks, so much more that I'm thinking about something that has been come to be known as a bucket list. I had never ever experienced working with a bucket list before I started writing one in late 2019. 2020 was my 60th year on the planet. And so in late 2019, as the new year was approaching, I was doing my spiritual work around the idea of making my 60th year a year of intentional living. It felt like a landmark year to me, and I wanted to do it in a significant way. And I wanted to be very conscious about that. So as I was doing my work and looking at different things, different ways I could bring more intention into my life, I came across bucket list. And so I decided that for my 60th year on the planet, I would find 60 things that I had not done before, and then spend 2020 doing those things and checking them off my bucket list. Well, as you know, in March of 2020, the world shut down due to the pandemic. So there were many things that I could not complete on my bucket list because they involved travel or being in large groups of people or going to restaurants or things that were being prohibited due to the quarantine. But I was still able to do quite a few of them. In fact, I completed 37 items on my bucket list in 2020. And every single time I checked one of those things off, I felt a huge, amazing sense of joy. It's hard for me to explain. It was even hard for me to imagine that I could experience this kind of joy over checking something off of a list. But these were things that I had thought I had wanted to do all of my life, but never had the motivation, the will, or whatever else it was that was needed for me to be able to do these things. And every year since, I have created a new bucket list. The number of items on my list increases each year with my age. So this year's list had 62 items on it. Now, sometimes those items are carried over from the previous year, as they were in 2020. Those 23 things that I couldn't get done were carried over to 2021. And of course, the pandemic continued into 2021, so many of those things I was still unable to do. And there are a few of them that got carried to my 2022 list. And some of them were revised and decided, yeah, I'm not into doing that one anymore, so I'll just take that one off of my list. So I may never get to a point where I have a completely fresh new list. But I have to say that I've certainly done and tried a lot more things in my life than I ever did in my first 60 years. So I thought it might be fun tonight to take you through some of the things to keep in mind when making a bucket list for yourself. If you've never done it before, I highly encourage it. So the first thing that you want to do is to choose the perfect place or the perfect thing to keep your bucket list in. Now, I happen to use a journal. I keep everything in a journal. And so I have a different color for each year, and I do mandalas. So I drew a mandala and then turned it into a sticker so I could put it on my cover just to make it special. So these are what my bucket lists look like. I do about 3 or 4 of these a year, so I have to transfer the list from one book to the other, but that's okay too. I thought about putting down paper and sticking it in there, but there's something nice about writing it out again too, and then checking it off, because I get to check them off multiple times throughout the year. Give your list a name. Find something that you want to call it. Mine is for the first one was 60 things in my 60th year. And so each year is like the same kind of thing, 61 things in my 61st year, and so forth. But you can come up with an exciting name for it. My to-do list for an expanded life, or Laura's wish list, or whatever you want to call it. Make yourself a name. Make it special. Choose the length that you want your bucket list to be. Oftentimes you think of 100 things, and 100 things on your list. When I was doing my research on bucket lists back in 2020, I looked up lots of different bucket lists. There were many people that had blogs that they had their bucket list written on their blogs, and it was a great way of kind of beginning to explore it. Create categories for the items that you want on your bucket list. Find the different kinds of things that you wanted to do. For instance, I had things that I was doing by myself. I had things that I was doing for self-care. I had things that I was doing to educate myself. Things I was doing with other people. I had food things, different kinds of food that I wanted to eat, different skills and things to do. And always on my bucket list, I have a creativity section. I have a creativity category on there. Things that I want to create, things that I want to write, things that I want to bring forth into expression, because creativity is very important to me. And then spend a little bit of time getting in touch with yourself. Really tap in to see what is important with you. Our process of visioning is powerful for this. You can go back through the meditations and contemplations that we were doing on the first week in March. Some of those things might help you get clarity about what it is. But really get in touch with yourself and see what is on your heart wanting to be completed. And then find other ideas for your list. Like I said, looking online, search, just Google bucket list, and there were hundreds of different people's bucket lists posted on there. Find ideas. I found ideas on those lists for things that I hadn't thought of, and so it was great. And then once you get your list completed, start doing it. Start ticking those things off. Honestly, I am just surprised at the joy I get out of ticking something off on a piece of paper in a book. So here's some different ideas for your different kind of categories for bucket list. You may want to do a travel bucket list, places that you want to visit. Like I said, I have a creativity bucket list, and so that's something that's really important to me. Relationship bucket list. Maybe you want to enter into a relationship. Maybe you want to change a relationship. Maybe you want to have more people that you are in relationship with. However that works. A wellness bucket list. Things that you want to do for yourself to improve your overall health and well-being. You might have one that involves nature and wildlife. It could be like zip lining in the rainforest, or petting a tiger, whatever that is. Spending time hiking through the woods, whatever that might be. You may have a sports bucket list. I've never been a big sports fan, but on my bucket list was to see a professional sporting event. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I still haven't done it. It's the one that gets carried over because, pandemic. You might have an entertainment bucket list. I had some concerts and things that I wanted to go to, people that I wanted to see. Some of them I've been able to see, and some of them I haven't. If you're a foodie, make a list of the restaurants that you want to go to, or the types of foods that you want to eat. There were several different types of food that I had never experienced, and I put them on my bucket list. And then you may have something that's just absolute luxuries, things that you really want to do. Take a cruise, get a diamond ring, whatever that is that you want to do for yourself. Put that on there, luxury things. This is something that we can really begin to bring into our life in a greater expression. You can really begin to experience more of that joy when we are purposeful about living, when we are purposeful about what we are doing, and when we keep that purpose that we have, that purpose that we've set for ourselves, when we keep that fresh before us in our moments of high resolve. Having that list keeps it fresh in front of me. Having that list in my journal, and I go back through it at least weekly. I will go through my bucket list and see if there's anything upcoming that I might be able to complete one of those items on my bucket list. If there's something that I'm going to be doing that will help me check something off of my list, I make sure that I've kept that fresh in front of my mind so that when I do get it, then I can actually go ahead back and check that off. We are meant to be in utter delight in our lives. We are meant to experience the joy of life. We are meant to experience that God quality of joy through each and everything that we do in our lives. And honestly, we can actually have more of that if we are purposeful about it. If we are actually purposeful and intentional about what we're doing, we can bring more of that into our experience. And so I want to leave you with this passage from Ernest Holmes. This is from his book, Ideas of Power. He says, There is a laughter of God. Let's laugh it. There is a song in the universe. Let's sing it. There is a hymn of praise. Let's praise it. There is a joy, a beauty, a deep, abiding peace. Let's experience it. Find those opportunities to be more purposeful about how you are experiencing joy in your life. It truly is a great spiritual practice, and it will bless you in untold ways. So we have Justin here coming up with a song for us, but in the meantime, I encourage you to find a way to create that purposeful list for yourself, that thing that you want to bring more joy into your life through. Find a way to make a list of the things that are going to bring you joy, and then start doing them and check those little things off. Have a great week, everyone.
Here at Center for Spiritual Living Greater Las Vegas, we are a mission and vision-driven community. We offer transformative educational opportunities, deep and meaningful moments of connection, uplifting Wednesday and Sunday services. We greatly appreciate your contributions that support the amazing work we're doing here in Southern Nevada. We have several easy ways you can contribute. We have text to give. Simply text the amount of your donation to our text to give number, and you'll be prompted to enter your information. There's a link to our online donation page posted below this video where you can contribute by debit or credit card. And of course, you're always welcome to send a check to our office if that works better for you. All of your contributions go to support the great work that we're doing here in Greater Las Vegas community.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Sing it up. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Again now. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God.
The monthly publication, Science of Mind magazine, is a treasure to be read and contemplated. Along with in-depth articles, there is a day-to-day spiritual support to be gleaned from its daily guides. Licensed practitioner Lynn Frankenberger hosts Adventures in Faith on Zoom, and you're invited to join in. This is a weekly group discussion that focuses on those daily guides and how to apply them. Check Facebook and our weekly newsletter for more details.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real with Reverend Laura. Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real with Reverend Laura.
CSL Greater Las Vegas brings you much of your favorite spiritual music every Friday at 7 p.m. with Spiritual Soundscapes. Enjoy performances from CSLGLV vocalists along with special guest singers. It's music for your soul. Subscribe to the CSLGLV YouTube channel to get a convenient link sent to you for each musical performance. At CSL Greater Las Vegas, it is our mission to inspire spiritual discovery through community connection, exploration, and celebration. This mission supports the all-inclusive vision of Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide, in which we envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation.